Little cold this morning. Now, a couple of videos ago, I introduced you to my new truck, 2011 Silverado, a Chevy, of course. I love it. I think I got a good deal on it. I paid 10,000 Canadian, which is about, I think around 7,400 US dollars. I think I said 6,000 last time. I was wrong, but I still think I got a good deal on it. But there is things, I know there are things that I need to improve on it just to make it suitable for what I need it for. And the first thing I did was replace the tires. Brand new Ravello Ridge Track AT. Should be a lot better for the mountains, the mud, and winter driving. Good for ice. But there's other things I need to do as well. And I'm going to do a few things today. Now, one thing I really like about this truck is that it came with this cap or topper, some like to call it, a cover for the back, which would be great for camping, especially in the summertime. But yesterday I took it to a car wash. I needed to get all the salt underneath off and clean it up a little bit. And when I looked at this inside, I found it's all soaking wet. This leaks like a sieve, so I definitely have to do something about that before I even consider camping in it. I'm probably going to be using the camper in the interim. It's probably going to take me a little time to get this going, but it's one of many things I got to work on. I at least want to get some kind of seals in between the cap and the sides there, because there's nothing. It leaks like a sieve, and I have to work on that. Now, just a few more notes about tires. When I originally got this Chevy, I got it with 20-inch tires and rims. They were summer tires, so they're no good to me. And in shopping around, I found out that 20-inch tires, I wanted all-terrain. These are all-terrain. And they also have that little, where is it? Right there, the mountain and snowflake symbol. So they're good for snow as well. However, shopping around for 20-inch tires, they were humongously expensive. Good thing though, I had another set of rims that came with the truck, which were 18-inch. And the bonus is not only did I save money, I saved $500 going to an 18-inch tire instead of a 20. But apparently I will get better gas mileage because there is less rolling resistance than if I'd gone with 20-inch. However, this did lead to a little bit of a problem because I did not have a spare. I couldn't use a 20-inch rim as a spare when all my tires were 18. And one of the disadvantages of living in a rural area is there was not a lot of choice. I called all the dealers, I called Canadian Tire, I called everybody I could, and nobody could get me 18-inch rims for a Chevy Silverado because they're either 17-inch or 20. I knew 18 fit, they're on there right now. I ended up driving 2.5 hours to a major city to go to a wrecker and get this. This is my new spare tire. Tire and rim cost me $75, but I almost paid that in gas as well. But I have a spare because I didn't have one before. Now I can put it on the truck. Okay, all suited up, ready to do this. Today is a very narrow window of opportunity because it's going to be reasonably warm. Sun's coming up. It's going to be above freezing. And what I need to do this morning has to be done above freezing. And it's underneath the truck I have to go. So, got my little GoPro here. Let me show you what the issues are underneath the truck. I just have enough clearance that I can slide myself underneath here. And it's not a pretty sight. Let me just show you the underbelly of the beast. A lot of rust. No doubt. It's never had any kind of undercoating. And you look places like this and you can see the rust is flaking off. It's really not in good shape at all. I mean, structurally it's okay, but I'm not going to go out in the salt roads. It's just going to make it worse if I don't do something. So the first thing I have to do is do a little scraping and brushing with a wire brush. See if I can get some of this rust off. Well, I've got this visor on for extra protection, just so I don't get any of that rust in my eyes, because I'm going to have to knock this with a hammer and scrape, just like this. Oh, there it goes. Comes off easy enough, but it is a messy process. Okay, I'm going to switch to the brush. Now, I really didn't intend to do undercoating myself. I wanted a garage to do it properly. Unfortunately, no garage around here would do it. And the reason being is it was too cold. Their undercoating equipment had frozen up. They only do it in like September and October. By November and December, it's too late, and so I missed my window opportunity. So what I'm really planning on doing here is just helping a little bit, from the salt, by removing the scale, removing the rust, so I can at least do a temporary measure until I can get it done in the spring. Now, there are many things that concern me. One is this wire. I don't know what it is, but it's just hanging down there. It's got to be for something, but I don't know what. Later on, I found out it's the parking brake cable, driver's side. I got to get that fixed. The other thing I have to do down here is get the spare tire hoist off. It's right here. It's completely useless because the cable has been broken, so it's missing half its components. It's rusty and it doesn't want to come off. I've put some WD-40 on a bolt in behind here. I'm just waiting for that to sink in, and then I'm going to whack it with a hammer, see if I can get it off. Finally. Well, that took a lot of effort, but after at least an hour, I finally got the spare tire hoist out. There it is, really bad shape, broken cable, completely useless. Now the first thing I did is I went to a Chevy dealership to find out how much is it to replace this part. And I was kind of blown away because I've got the card right here. It says spare tire hoist $491.43 for this. It's like, seriously? $500? Actually, it's over $500 with 15% tax. But I went on Amazon, and guess what? Here it is. And it wasn't $591, it was $75. Can you believe it? I mean, it's the same part. I mean, come on. Like, I don't mind when a dealership, you know, jacks the price up maybe 2 or 3 times, but that's a lot. From 75 to 500, rip off. Well, I'm not going to install that spare tire hoist just yet. The whole reason I was scraping off that rust underneath is I need to protect it. And so, nobody can do it for me. Went to an auto supply and I got 2 cans of fluid film. And the stuff is supposed to be pretty good. A lot of my viewers recommended it, as a matter of fact. And since nobody can do it for me, I'm going to do it myself. Just a spray, and it's got a little straw. I'm going to do as much as I can. I mean, there's a lot of nooks and crannies I can't do, but I've got to do something. You know, in the summer, when it's warmer and the shops you have time, I can get it fully coated. That's what I got to do first, and I'm running out of time. Stop talking, start doing. With the underside nice and slimy, I could now install the new spare tire hoist. Installing this hoist was a lot easier when the bolt's not rusty. Goes on, took me about 5 minutes. With the hoist now repaired, I finally had a place to store a spare. And it worked like a charm. Okay, I'm slowly getting this stuff sorted out, but the next one is working on the leaks inside the cap in the back of the truck. And I don't have to look far to see where one of the worst ones is, because I can see all the staining here. This has been a wet area, so the assumption is it's in this window. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a camera and got a little bit of water, and I'm going to go on the outside and pour in this area and see if I can capture where it's coming in. Should do it. Well, no big surprise. Most of it's coming right through here and it's pouring in. However, if you look closely at the video, it is also coming from up here. Now the seal seems pretty tight. However, one thing I observed is and they're soaking wet so you can't see them, but there are two weeping holes here. Now I understand the concept like on a house window when the windows are perfectly perpendicular with the ground, but these are tilted. Does that not mean that the weeping holes is actually bringing water from the outside in? I don't know, but I think one thing I got to do is plug up these weeping holes. As far as the bigger problem of underneath here, I always look for the cheapest, easiest solution, and I think I have it. Foam pipe insulation. 4 pieces, $1.69. Let's try it out. To install the pipe insulation, I first had to remove all the clamps that held the truck cap in place. Next, I lifted the cap with my back and stuck in some wood spacers. Now that I have the cap propped up between two 2x4s, I can put in the pipe insulation, and it does come apart like that, just splits open, and with a little patience, you just slide that under there, try to get it to spread out. It's a little bit of a challenge, but it can be done. With the insulation in place, I've removed the spacers and tightened the clamps back down. I also added a couple of beads of silicone in those weeping holes just to see what effect it had. And now for another water test. Not a single drop entered the truck bed. Well, I think that worked well, and I only had to use 7 tubes of foam pipe insulation. I splurged and bought like $4 worth. I think it's going to work. If there's any issues with the silicone, it's easy to remove this, so I'm not too worried about it. But as far as the foam sticking out, just an X-Acto knife and just cut around the trim. Whoa! That's a big step up. I'm going to have to do something about that. Well, that's a start. That's all I'm going to get done this week. But I know there's many things I need to do to this truck to get it ready for travel. And did I expect that everything would be perfect after I spent $10,000? Hell no! That's never ever happened. Any vehicle I've bought, any trailer I've bought, always needs work once I get it, and this is no exception. This is just the start. But so far, you know, I've eliminated a few problems, and hopefully I'm not going to find too many more. Now, before I head off, I just want to mention something. A lot of the time, people will challenge my ideas, and I'm 100% okay with that if they do it respectfully. However, sometimes in the comments you get these know-it-alls and these loud-mouths that go, you know, blah, 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 I've been like a waffle sniffer for 45 years and you don't know what you're doing. Those kind of people, I ignore them. But if people make comments and they show respect, I respect them back. And I did get one that challenged something I said when I first introduced this truck. Because, and I did do, in part of the video, I did say something about gas mileage. What I expect to happen, or what I hope will happen, is I'll end up, yes, with a bigger engine, but a more efficient one. Because the Jeep, at best, would do, let's say, 18 miles per gallon. But this one, and especially when it's tuned up, and it's not now, should be about the same. Hopefully I can actually do better than that when I get it tuned up. And I have the option that when I really need it, I have a lot more power. And his comment is this: Slim, as a longtime follower, I'm surprised to see you in a pickup truck. Normally you go to great lengths to improve gas mileage, so I was expecting something different. Any particular reason you chose a truck versus another SUV? Well, one of the reasons was, I think, because this is a 6-speed, I could actually get better gas mileage than I could with the Jeep, especially with towing. And that's how I responded. And he replied back, I will respectfully disagree about you getting better gas mileage with the truck versus the Jeep. Very respectful. I love when people write like that. So I responded again, would you like to place a little wager? And he would. So here's what this is all about. I won't make anything. He won't make anything. It's for charity. And the challenge is this: can I actually get better gas mileage in this truck versus the Jeep in towing? Now, I know when I was in Saskatchewan, when I first moved from Alberta to New Brunswick, I got something ridiculous, like in towing, it was like 18 miles per gallon. I have never achieved that since. That was a fluke, and I'm not anywhere near Saskatchewan, so I can't try to reproduce that again. So what I did is I went into my gas receipts that I've had recently, especially in my trips to the east in the US, and I found one when I was towing, I think it was in Pennsylvania, that I got 15.1 miles per gallon. So the challenge is, that was with the Jeep, can I get better than the Jeep and get better than 15.1 miles per gallon? If I win, then that viewer has to give $100 worth of groceries to a food bank. And if I lose, I do the same. I'm the one that actually gives money to the food bank. So it's actually win-win. However, I accept the challenge, but I'm not traveling yet. So, and I also haven't had the engine tuned up. One of the problems with rural garages is you ask them to do 4 things and they only do 2. So I've got another appointment. It takes like 2 or 3 weeks to get an appointment with these guys to get the engine improved on. Hopefully, change the spark plugs, whatever it needs, improve on the engine. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, I think that's it. It's almost dark. I'm going to head back. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my others as well.